So, what is the Jigsaw? Well, the Jigsaw is a cooperative learning strategy developed by Elliot Aronson in the 1970s. The strategy involves dividing a classroom into small, diverse groups of 6 or 8 students, with each student taking on a unique role within the group. The students then work together to complete a task or project, with each student responsible for contributing to their part. The Jigsaw method has several benefits, such as encouraging cooperation, communication, and empathy among the students as they must work together to achieve a common goal. It also promotes critical thinking and problem-solving skills, as students required to analyze and synthesize information to complete their tasks. Additionally, it can improve academic performance as students are more engaged and motivated when working together in a supportive and collaborative environment. That is all for my report. Off to the next one.
Hi everyone, I am teacher Denise and I'll be the one to discuss about the cooperative learning strategy. So as for cooperative learning strategy, Jigsaw was founded on Vygotsky's social constructivism theory that discusses or suggests that children develop knowledge through social interaction. So the strategy was given such a name because of the process resembles a jigsaw puzzle. So the different parts of the lesson compared to the puzzle pieces are distributed among students. And they have to communicate and work together to arrive at the complete information. So this jigsaw is very much applicable in many social studies lessons, particularly those with the content that can be broken down for different groups to analyze. So for this slide, we can see here the steps of cooperative learning strategy. So it is a very common problem during problem set solving sessions that instead of all students being actively engaged in the exercise, in that in each group there is one student working on the social problem set while the rest of the group is watching, paying more or more likely less attention. And here is what you can do to change that. So for the jigsaw method, if we called it in German, it is often called the expert method. So you need to split your class into small groups. For the sake to clarify, let's assume for now that there are 9 students in your class. So this would give you 3 groups with 3 students each. So each of your groups now get their own problem to work on. After a certain time, the groups are mixed. In each of the new groups, you will have one member of each of the old groups. So in these new groups, every student tells the other 2 about the problem she has been working on in her previous group, and hopefully it explains it well enough that in the end, so everybody must know how to solve all the problems. So this is a great method for many reasons, especially if we're going to use jigsaw method or jigsaw steps. So the students must be actively engaged when solving the problem in their first group, because they will know, or they will have to be expert on it later. So explain it to others who didn't get it, and by that they will learn what would be their lesson.
Social Psychology Network and Aronson outlined 10 steps to implement the Jigsaw classroom strategy. And here are the 10 steps. First, students should be divided into 5 or 6 person home groups based on gender, ability, and ethnicity. Second, appoint a leader for each home group. Third, divide the day's lesson into 5 to 6 segments. Fourth, assign each student in the home group to learn one segment. Fifth, give students enough time to comprehend and master their assigned segment. Sixth, Form temporary expert groups by instructing students to sit together with the same segments. Give them enough time to rehearse the presentations to their home group to discuss main points, clarify questions, and explain them. 7th, bring students back to their home groups after the given time. 8th, ask each member to present his or her segment to the group. The leader should encourage the flow of discussion and the asking of questions. 9th, teachers should roam around the classroom to observe the process and make appropriate interventions for those facing difficulties. Lastly, 10th, at the end of the session, give a quiz to assess student learning. Aronson and his colleagues developed the original Jigsaw strategy and later developed revised versions with different versions by other educators such as Jigsaw 2, Jigsaw 3, and Jigsaw 4, which varied grading techniques and included group review and reteaching.
Thank you for that, Teacher Nina. Hello, I am Rachel Anjarbi Marata, and I'm going to talk about the advantages of the Jigsaw strategy. So here are some advantages of the Jigsaw strategy as discussed by Hans and Berger in 2007. So the first one is that it encourages active participation. It requires each student to actively participate in the learning process. Students are divided into groups and assigned a specific task. They must collaborate and share information to complete the task. This encourages all students to contribute and participate actively in the learning process. Second is that it develops communication skills. Students must communicate effectively with each other to complete the task. This involves listening actively to others, expressing ideas clearly, and giving and receiving feedback. Third advantages is that it promotes teamwork and collaboration. Students must work together to achieve a common goal. This helps to develop social skills such as empathy, respect, and responsibility. Fourth is that it increases motivation and engagement. The Jigsaw strategy can increase student motivation and engagement. When students work together and see the results of their efforts, they are more likely to be motivated and engaged in the learning process. This can lead to better academic performance. And the fifth advantage is that it encourages critical thinking. The Jigsaw strategy requires students to think critically and analyze information. They must evaluate the information presented to them and make connections between different pieces of information. This encourages higher order thinking skills and helps students to develop their analytical skills. Overall, the Jigsaw strategy is an effective and beneficial learning technique that encourages active participation, develops communication and social skills, promotes teamwork and collaboration, increases motivation and engagement, and encourages critical thinking. That's all from my report. Let me call on Teacher Nadine for the tips.
Thank you for that, Teacher Rachel. So now that you already know the advantages of the Jigsaw teaching strategy, I will now show you some tips to implement it better and in a more efficient way. First, emphasize that each member has a valuable contribution to the group. This will minimize the chances of smart students dominating the discussion while less able students talk less. You can also rotate the leadership so that all students will be given the opportunity to lead the discussion. Recognizing and appreciating the diverse strengths of each individual fosters a collaborative environment where everyone's input is valued and celebrated. Second, ensure that the given materials are of equal length and difficulty so that they can be mastered by all the students within the given time limit. If this is not possible, assign the materials based on the students' abilities. Giving activities that are equal or aligned to the students' capabilities supports their overall development, enhances their motivation and self-confidence, and cultivates an inclusive and supportive learning environment. And for the last tip, in some cases, teachers might skip the formation of expert groups, believing that individually mastering the segment is enough. However, the expert group is helpful, especially in clarifying points which some students might find difficult to understand. So, as much as possible, allow sufficient time for among expert groups to ensure rich and deep discussions among the students. And that would be all about Jigsaw in Lesson 13.
So, what is the Jigsaw? Well, the Jigsaw is a cooperative learning strategy developed by Elliot Aronson in the 1970s. The strategy involves dividing a classroom into small, diverse groups of 6 or 8 students, with each student taking on a unique role within the group. The students then work together to complete a task or project, with each student responsible for contributing to their part. The Jigsaw method has several benefits, such as encouraging cooperation, communication, and empathy among the students as they must work together to achieve a common goal. It also promotes critical thinking and problem-solving skills, as students required to analyze and synthesize information to complete their tasks. Additionally, it can improve academic performance as students are more engaged and motivated when working together in a supportive and collaborative environment. That is all for my report. Off to the next one.
Thank you for listening, and now let us proceed to Lesson 14 to be introduced by Teacher Daniela.
Good day everyone, this is Teacher Dan, and for today we will be discussing about the lesson 14, and it's all about the panel discussion. And to know more about panel discussion and all about our topic, let's proceed to Teacher I to discuss more about this. Thank you.
Good morning once again. This is IC Abulga speaking. Let us now proceed to the next part, which is to think. Let me further explain precisely what a panel discussion is. A panel discussion is a method to encourage effective interaction and enables both speakers and audience to exchange ideas about a certain topic. It is frequently used to shine a spotlight on political, social, and educational matters. Basically, it is a form of brainstorming as we gather different ideas from people who took part, and it is carried out on the spot. The majority of the topics that are brought up are recent issues in our community to keep us updated and informed about what is happening in our surroundings. The panel discussion can be used into a performance task in the classroom as well. The students will have the opportunity to be experts in their fields and different kinds of career paths such as teaching, guidance counseling, politics, medicine, and other various fields they want to explore. The concept of constructivism serves as the foundation for the teaching of social studies in the Philippines. The panel discussion centers on a constructivist learning environment, but the constructivist classroom is more than just the strategies the teacher applies to educate. It is also about creating connections between students, teachers, and ideas. In light of this, when implemented successfully, it can be a useful teaching technique that offers lots of benefits in the teaching of social studies.
In conducting panel discussion, you should consider the following. The teacher will act as moderator. So, the teacher will be the facilitator during the discussion. Next is group your learners according to how many they are as a whole. So, in grouping them, you should also know how many they are in the classrooms, like classroom. Let's say for example they are 40 students, so you will group them into four, and each group will contain 10 members. So next, the moderator and members will create list of interview questions. So in order to have a engaging response to the teacher and the learners, they both of them will create different sets of questions that can help um, to clarify things, and of course to make the other students understand what that are the things that they find confusing. So next is during pre-event interviews, the moderator will prepare good notes, discover interesting stories and opinions. So as a moderator, you should also prepare good notes with the summarization of the key points of of their of the topic, and also you will give them some opinions that can also relate to the topic, so in order that it will not make um, boring and more interesting to listen. So after the discussion, as moderator, you should prepare finalized questions, so to sum up and to know if the students are really listening, or their attention are in the kanang discussion. You should prepare questions that can help them put up their takeaways and what they have learned during the discussion.
Hello everyone, I am teacher Maria Cristina Taviosa Israel and I'm going to discuss you the room setup and logistics. The first thing that I'm going to tackle is first, to make a really lively discussion, I strongly suggest asking the panelists not to use any slide for the event. Slides are for presentation, not discussion. I will rarely work with a panel if slides are allowed. Second, don't put your panelists behind a table. It adds a formality and distance that prevents interaction with each other and audience. Put the panel on a stage if the room is very big. But for an intimate event, put the panelists on the same level as the audience. Third, based on what I've observed, the best setup is panelists in a slight semicircle so they can see each other on comfortable chairs. Tools if you have to, but this is tough for women in skirt, especially short people like me, which I am, so I hate tools. I like it when the moderator sat in the middle, but the side can work. Fourth, only put out enough seats for the expected attendance. You have an extra ready if you are blessed with an unexpectedly great turnout. This gets people to sit close to the front so the interactions are better. And the last one is have a good microphone system ready for each panelist. If the room needs it, lapel mics are best. That's all for my part, so let's bound to the next reporter.
Thank you for that discussion. Now I am Elmarie M. Nieves, and I will discuss the next topic. The moderator takes control. In a panel discussion, it is the moderator that is responsible for the facilitation, review, and guidance of a discussion or a debate and its related interactions. Moderator uses a standard or guideline for appropriateness and the organization's rules. Because rules aren't just easily made, but they are made for a purpose. So these are how the moderator takes control. Moderators must actively focus on preventing any panelist or anyone from disrupting the discussion. It is their duty to prevent the discussion from being interrupted, but they also have a time wherein they would ask and let the panelists answer. Next, they should introduce the panelists and topics to discuss. It is also their role to do it, and they have the ability to do it successfully. Next, a moderator should ask multiple questions to keep the discussion going or moving. But they should also only ask one or two panelists and must prohibit if many panelists would answer simultaneously. It is also to prevent the discussion from getting its time too much. So next is number 4. Moderators should ensure spontaneity. Therefore, the moderator should be someone who can easily communicate questions. So they must be someone who is really good at managing people. So, number 5, moderators make the discussion interactive by polling the audience, like asking them to raise their hands or volunteer to answer. So this is the time when they let the panelists to answer or say their questions. It is important in order to have an interactive panel discussion. Lastly, moderators give audience members a chance to participate. And those are how a moderator takes control of a panel discussion. So that will be all for my part. Now let's welcome Ashley for the next topic.
Thank you for that, Teacher Ellen. Now, I'm going to discuss what happens during the panel discussion. There is no more than 40 minutes for the panel discussion, leaving 20 minutes for the audience questions. 30 if the discussion is lively is the rule. However, because of the number of groups to be accommodated, the time can be cut short. To ensure audience participation, the teacher moderator can give questions to some audience members ahead of time. In case the audience members want to take over, it is the role of the moderator to keep them in their seats and to ensure the smooth flow of the activity.
How does panel discussion encourage a constructivist classroom? A panel discussion encourages a constructivist learning environment through interactive learning, which includes asking questions based on students' interests or prior knowledge to build on and expand what they already know and to initiate an effective teacher-student interaction. Can a teacher modify a panel discussion to suit the needs of the learners? They certainly can. To transform the classroom into a constructivist environment, the instructor might adjust the panel discussion to meet the requirements of the students. To become a constructivist classroom, the instructor should remember how to employ different methods or tactics to make the panel discussion interesting and appropriate. But do not forget about the constructivism. What are the benefits of using panel discussion in social classroom? So a panel discussion is one of the best way to engage students in significant educational discussion. It's a beneficial approach for uplifting students to share their thoughts and viewpoints on a particular topic. It presents a lot of benefits, mainly because we can gain insights from different participants, different points of view, which can be broaden and deepen our knowledge. The students' confidence and skills and public speaking are boosted as well and improving their ability to learn in greater depth in social studies.